Guys, welcome back to Hands-On channel. Today we're putting in this Panasonic Whisper model FV as in Victor -0811RF1. So we're going to try to install this. We're doing a retrofit. I'm installing it in a existing bathroom, and one of the things that I'm doing right now is cutting that hole bigger because I had a builder grade unit in there before. It was really noisy, and it wasn't actually even vented out. It was just vented up into the cellulose spray-in insulation stuff, the blow-in insulation. I mean, they had blown it right over the top of the of the bathroom fan, so it was just collecting moisture. And every time I thought that stuff was going out at least into the attic. But anyways, we're going to get that taken care of. We're going to run a hose all the way over to where there's a vent over on my roof so that I can get this moisture out of my attic. But we're putting in quite a larger unit there. You can see it's quite a bit larger. So stay tuned. We're going to get this last little piece cut out. I had to mark my hole to 10 7/8 all the way around to fit this unit. So quite a bit larger. Okay, when you get your unit unboxed here and you pull your unit out and you set it on the counter, you start to see what's going on here. You've got a side piece here that comes off. There's a screw in the side that I've already removed just to make the video go faster, and also this little plug. It was not exactly apparent how to get this plug out. I thought I was supposed to squeeze the little tabs inside of there, and that wasn't getting me anywhere. Well, I found out that basically there's a single push pin on the top. It just wasn't, you know, easy to see, so I wasn't real sure how to do that. But you just squeeze this guy and you'll be able to pop that right out of there, no problem. But it just wasn't apparent. I was trying to get my fat fingers in there and get these things here off, and I thought, well, that's weird. That's a weird way to do it. But turns out it was just this top clip. Maybe if they'd made that red or something, or yellow, or something that stood out a little bit. But when it's in there, it just blends in. You can't really tell how to get that removed. So that'll help you out. So I pulled the screw out, and I expected this thing here to just kind of fall off, but that's not how it works. It actually slides in. I don't know if I'll be able to do this one-handed or not. Let's try it. Yeah, there we go. It slides down off of the frame. So sorry for the shaky camera here, but hopefully you see how that kind of slides in to the grooves here. So you remove this part before you try to install it. In fact, you install this part first, and you get all your wiring dealt with up in the attic. Actually, that's not first. You put this Z-bracket thing, or whatever they call it, this thing here. You put this guy in first, and then you put this guy in. So I think next up we got to finish cutting the hole and then try to get this guy mounted in there. The idea is this goes over, and let's see how it goes. One way or another, it spreads out. There we go. It'll spread open to fit in between your roof trusses or joists or whatever you got going on up there, so that you can anchor this in, and it even has some screws already in place. So I'm going to cut my hole bigger, and then that'll give me room to get this guy up in there. The whole point of the thing bending like that is so that you can fit it up inside of your hole that you've cut, and then open it up and screw it in. So hopefully that makes sense. I'll go ahead and try to show you how I'm doing this in case you've never done it before. You're going to need a tool like this. It's made for sheetrock. I can't remember what they call it, a keyhole saw or something like that. But it's sharp enough down here on the end that if you're careful about it, and probably don't want to go right near the edge, probably go like right in here somewhere. And if you're careful with it, you can kind of work it through there. And sometimes you might kind of have to hit the butt of it a little, but carefully, not too hard. You don't want to break the sheetrock. Well, sometimes you drop it. And when you're trying to film, and you're going to make a huge mess in here, so be prepared for that. This sheetrock just rains down like you wouldn't believe. So let's just kind of keep working it in. I must have hit a hard spot there in the sheetrock. Of course, that's how it goes when you're filming. Oh, there we go. Okay. So what you want to do is get through both layers. Make sure you're through that paper in the back so you're not just pushing it up back there. And then, because I'm not going to be able to do this and film it all the way, but I just want to give you an idea. I'm going to go ahead and cut to this corner right here. go fairly slow with it, you can get a pretty clean cut. One thing you're going to want to make sure of, and I had to really think about this because of where my wiring is and because of where I've got a stud right here. So I'm going to screw into that and on that with that Z-bracket thing, and because of that you want to make sure there's no other studs anywhere, and somewhere over here there was another stud, so make sure that you can cut, you know, your sheetrock out without hitting any studs, and make sure you're going to have room to install this big old thing because it is pretty big. Okay, hopefully you can see there I've got the Z-bracket screwed in, and the next step is since my vent is going this way, it kind of created a little bit of a problem for me, but we're going to put this guy in. Although I'm just dry fitting it right now, I'm not actually installing it because I want to put some duct tape type material, that foil tape, around this joint right here so that this reducer doesn't come apart. And I'm also going to go ahead and attach my electrical wires and the hose outlet that I'm going to install on this. But right now we're just going to dry fit this thing. It should just slide right in there. Maybe I have to get it in first and then drop down to it. Yeah, that's a better way. Get it in there first, then drop down to it. It's supposed to, once you get this installed underneath that Z-bracket thing, then you run a couple of screws in, and that'll hold that all together. And then your wiring will be done, your duct work will be done, and then all you've got left to do is slide the actual housing, the black box, up inside of there and connect everything up, and it should be good to go. But yeah, I had to dig out quite a bit of insulation and to find my studs up in there, and I was wanting to find one that actually ran the opposite way, but it wouldn't work out because of the way this thing's supposed to lay in there. The Z-bracket apparently only accepts this thing one direction. You might be able to make it work the other way, but there would be nothing to screw into here to hold this in place other than sheetrock, and maybe that would be enough. I thought about that, but I'm just doing it the way they've got the picture in the instructions. So now I've got to get this back out of here and get this prepped up and get the wires run down into it, and then we'll be ready to permanently install this piece. Okay, I've got my wiring dealt with, and my vent is attached and taped on, so now that all that's left to do is put the cover on. At this point, that's what it should look like once the Z-bracket and the snorkel outlet part of the fan is installed here. We've got all that wired up, so now we're ready to install the two screws here that go up into the Z-bracket. That'll hold everything, make everything a lot more rigid. We've got that guy screwed on there, so the last part of the step here is, or the last part of the install is to actually slide the box up inside of there, the actual fan unit, and put a couple more screws on this side. Once you screw the thing back in, I believe it's right there, that locks the fan box into this piece here. So these screws here actually hold that side of the box, and then there'll be two screws over here that hold this side of the box. As you can see, I put that screw back in, so that side is all connected. This side is screwed onto the Z-bracket. Last thing to do is just plug this guy in here until it clips in. Make sure you're plugged in. I put a little tape on this just so I wouldn't switch the light on or the fan switch on while I was working on it. So we'll get that out of the way, and we're ready to see what happens. And there it goes. Nice and quiet. And I've got it set on the 110 CFM. So I will finish up the install by getting up in my attic and running that hose over to my vent. I don't have an outlet on my roof, so I'm just going to run it over to one of my roof vents and tie it up there to where hopefully it will suck the majority of that moisture out of my attic, because you don't really want moisture going in your attic. Anyways, kind of a PITA to put this thing in, because just mainly because of the retrofit application. I think if I was putting it in new construction, it'd be easy money, but it is a little tough to put this thing in. I'll let you know in the future. We'll probably do a review on this, because you think maybe, why would you do a review on a bathroom fan? But this thing was over $100, and the only reason we bought it was because the one we had before was not doing an adequate job of ventilating this room, and we were getting, you know, I take pretty hot showers, so I want to suck all that stuff out and get it out into the air, not into my attic. So, all right, guys, I'll come back here in a minute when we put the cover on, and we should be good to go. So there we have it. The cover's installed. Everything's working right. You can hear it running. Very quiet. Vast improvement over my previous builder grade fan. I think this will work for us for many, many years to come.